Alright, since Shadow Milk Cookie is already out, and Shadow Milk Cookie have immortality passive, it mean, now there are 5 cookies that have immortality passive. Yep, now do how far can 5 immortality cookies go? Okay, so this is the cookies list. First, capsaicin cookie with 6 seconds duration. Next, fettuccine cookie with 5 seconds duration. Next, burning spice cookie, exactly the same as capsaicin cookie. Next, shadow milk cookie, basically become a puppet in 5.167 seconds. Lastly, rockstar cookie. He has a short immortality duration with massive heal. So that's it from the immortality team. Alright.
For artists, Clip Studio Paint is quickly becoming the go-to painting program for their professional and private work.
We have VTuber drama, we have art drama, we have TikToker drama, we have Twitch streamer drama, and now we have small indie anime inspired makeup brand drama. I'm truly collecting the infinity stones of internet drama out here. Let us get into this entire scenario. It starts out with this video made by the TikTok page YVA Expressions. I believe it's pronounced Eva if I remember correctly. There was this post that was made, which is a photo slideshow, so let me read this for you. Eva writes, "Unfortunately, we can never have an original product to ourselves as an indie makeup brand. Whatever becomes popular for us has to somehow be recreated or duped because I guess nobody wants to put in the same amount of effort into their own product launches or ideas. They just release a similar duplicate with minor changes and somehow that makes it original. It's not right and we shouldn't be put in this position. There are multiple indie makeup brands who have ripped off so many of our products. It's so disappointing and disheartening to be in this position, especially by other small businesses who are also in the same niche. It's so normalized to all do the same things that we forget about originality. Everything from Eva Expressions has been taken at some point. Example, product images, product ideas, designs, website layout, content, even my entire brand bio was stolen by somebody at one point. But what have I done? Kept looking forward. But I'm afraid I can no longer do that. We are a startup and we're trying to build a name for ourselves and we would love to do that without being copied." The top photo, this is ours. This is their Senpai blush palette. And Eva writes, "The concept is the exact same. No effort put into the product. They just did exactly what I already did. Is it not theft?" And on the bottom, it is another makeup palette. The name is not visible, but it is also a 4-pan blush. The color story between the two blushes is a little bit different, right? This blush, there is 3 cool tone blushes, the one on the bottom, and 1 very, very warm tone red blush. The palette on top is 3 warm tone blushes with 1 cool tone blush over here. This could be cool tone depending on how the product photo, like how it looks like in person. This one is a senpai blush featuring an anime guy with blonde hair with his hand covering his face. This one on the bottom is an anime guy pulling against his neck, and I don't know what the text says. It's something boy. There are both 4-pan blushes with the anime guy on the front. The color story for both is quite different in my opinion, but they could have been inspired off each other. Our Luna lip oil. So on the top, here is a lip oil called the Luna lip oil in a rectangular packaging with a pink lid and gold foil line art design on it. But isn't this the exact same concept just with minor changes? Anyone can drop a black lip color changing oil, but it's very obvious when somebody is heavily inspired. The issue, we've had multiple instances where we've been copied by this brand. We're in the same niche. We shouldn't take from one another. It's not right. We're both small businesses trying to pursue our dreams. So on the bottom, there is the Moon Goddess lip oil. The bottom brand, by the way, is Nico Yanin, which we will go into later, but that is the main brand that Eva is accusing of copying them. So on the bottom, as you can see, it is also a rectangular packaging for their lip gloss, same size too, but the difference is there is a black lid instead of a pink one, and they are both moon themed, right? With top one being Luna lip oil, the bottom one being moon, and the bottom one also having line art kind of designs on the packaging. It's not the same design though. It's not gold foil. It is simply just like white. So another side by side, the left one being Eva's Expressions and the right one being Nico Yanin. Eva writes, "These two products aren't exactly a copy of one another, but once again, us and this creator ended up having the same product with an extremely similar theme. Is that not a coincidence? We have dropped it first. We had black lip gloss since we launched. This creator strategy is to essentially drop their own versions of our best sellers instead of just coming up with original concepts and ideas. Truth is, I believe both our brands should never overlap because even though we are selling similar themed products, the ideas should be original. Most other small makeup businesses I see have very different products, and even if it's lip gloss that's the same shade, you can tell they're both different different since they're from different brands. But constantly I find ourselves heavily overlapping with this creator. There's so many anime inspired makeup brands out there that we did not overlap with at all. And that's because they chose to be original. So on the side by side, they are both cylindrical lip gloss tubes. This the most standard lip gloss tube you will find. The Yiva Expression ones has a bunch of skulls on the lid and then skulls on the very, very bottom. The Nico Yanin one, the lid is actually a skull itself. It is a silver metal skull as the lid that you can then unscrew. Yiva Expressions has their logo or their full name, Yiva Expressions, written on the side of the bottle in white. It is written horizontally, whereas Nico Yanin has their brand name written on the side of the bottle in white text, just written vertically. So another two side by side. The top one being the Magical Guardian Dual Chrome palette that was released by Yiva Expressions. I was very happy to see at least the theme was more different, but once again, we are overlapping in some way with this creator, Nico Yanin, and that's not coincidentally. It's on purpose. But I don't understand why we have to constantly have the same products or different makeup brands. I don't think it's right to do this just because you have the bigger following. The bottom is the Diamond of All Seasons palette, and as you can see, also glitter dual chrome palettes. They're both rectangular palettes with mirrors. The top one is an 8-pan palette. The Nico Yana one is a 10-pan palette. The color story is relatively similar, with Yiva's palette is much more saturated in color than Nico Yanin's palette. And out of the colors that are similar, they do feature about 5 colors that are similar, with a white, well, Nico Yanin's has 2 blues, a navy blue, and sort of like rusty brown. There is a purple too, but the purple is very different. This one's a very pastel purple. This one's a very saturated purple. And there's an orange in Yiva's palette that is not featured in Nico Yanin's palette. And Nico Yanin's palette has 2 more colors. They also have a gold and a copper. And also this color, this like very, very yellow crayon color. Yiva adds, the moment our Magical Guardian palette had a bit of momentum on TikTok, I had a feeling Nico Yana would release something very similar after. But at what point does that turn into ripping off our makeup brand? It's okay to want to be competitive, but it should be done fairly. Because at first it started with content and now it's with products. I have people bullying me daily in my comments because they think we're copying Nico Yanin. But the entire time, look what's been happening. This is why overlapping and copying is not okay, because we're both essentially doing the same thing. It should be fair. I would never copy anybody's hard work ever. On this graphic, the top is our Hello Nico palette, which was released first. It is a 12-pan neutral palette with a cat-shaped mirror with very, very beigey tones. It's a very warm toned set of browns. The bottom is Nico Yanin's Catitude palette. It is also a 12-pan palette. Notably though, there's also a mirror, but this mirror is flower shaped with theirs being cat shaped. They have circular pans instead of square pans, and this color palette is extremely pink, with Yiva Expressions palette being very autumny brown. And the cover photos is both cat ears, but the covers are very, very different, like the top of the palette. What are the chances that 2 people had the exact same idea to drop a palette themed after cats? That's not something that happens often. With a custom mirror shape, once again, our themes overlap even though we are 2 completely different makeup brands. I don't see this happening often with most makeup brands at all. They can release the exact same product, but it will be so different in so many ways. But with Nico Yanin, there are constantly similarities, constant overlaps, and I don't believe any of this is by chance. I never shared any of this because I just wanted to continue focus on growing Yiva Expressions, and I didn't want to get distracted with this, but I have to speak up about this because I don't think it's right. It's one thing to have similarities, but it shouldn't be similar, if that makes sense. There's so many makeup brands in the same space that are all unique. It just saddens me that there are people out there who think we're the ones copying, and that literally breaks my heart. The reason original makeup products are so important for indie makeup brands is because most of the time it's not every product that gets big for a makeup brand, but most makeup brands have that one product that they became successful for and became known for, especially for indie makeup brands. We're already competing with big makeup brands with big budgets, so every drop counts. Every drop we have is an opportunity for us to connect with the people who love our products and also get discovered too. But it's hard to do that when I constantly feel like our brand is being copied left and right. Something is being taken from it. It's not difficult to be original at all. Please do not send any of these creators hate on my behalf. I do not condone that. I just wanted to speak about this because the entire situation feels so uncomfortable, because at some point I used to be mutuals with these creators, which saddens me even more. But I have to speak up because this creator doesn't only do this to us. I've also witnessed this happen with other indie makeup brands. Some things just aren't coincidences. Every indie makeup brand deserves the opportunity to grow with their original ideas and work without there being a similar duplicate created. There is room for literally everyone. We can both be anime-inspired makeup brands, but both our brands should reflect our original ideas. More options, the better. But it's not fair to me to copy Yiva Expressions at Nico Yanin. And comments are turned off. Then Nico Yanin made their own video.
I didn't want to release this because it's very unprofessional and I'm about at my limit. So this all started in the beginning of last year. She said she was getting hate because our brands are similar. We started on a very positive note. In April of last year, she dropped a video of me accusing me of copying her. We started it all out as some sort of misunderstanding. She promised she would never bring my name up again. But here we are again. Am I crazy because I don't see any similarity at all besides this lip oil? If you notice, this kind of lip oil with this tube is very common. Tons and tons of other small businesses released these at one point because they blew up on TikTok, and so did I. She didn't design the tubes or formulate them. They are stock products. I'm a little confused on what she's talking about here. These are two completely different palettes. One is Magical Girl themed and the other one is Bridgerton themed. If she meant by me copying her with the duochrome glitter palettes, I released these way first. And to add on what she said about me last year copying her content, let me break it down for you. I started making content about trying manufacturer samples, and later she did the same thing. As you can see, these are the timestamps. I started unboxing return packages so my customers can see the condition of the return packages timestamp right here, and she started doing the same thing. I started doing these reaction videos. Every time I receive a big order, show the items they got and how much the amount was, and then straight to packing it. But then I started to notice she started doing the exact same thing. And then I made content about me designing the products, adding on everything, showing you step by step on how I create things, because I want my followers to see how I created things from the beginning to the end, so they're not just seeing the finished product without any steps. Timestamp here. Later I noticed she started doing the same thing. Let me just remind everybody that I never accused her of copying my content. I'm letting all this out because she accused me of copying. Other small businesses reached out to me, like Talo Beauty, saying they experienced the same thing. She stole Tylo's artists, mistreated her own artists, and then accused Sin Lily of copying her tubes when those are stock tubes, meaning anybody can get them, she didn't design them. I don't know how she thinks she can get away with all this. They can do their own research.
So this was a little crazy. Basically to TLDR, because a lot of slides and screenshots were added when Nico was talking. I'm gonna call them Nico for the rest of this video. Their actual name is Yin, but Yiva goes by Yiva, so both their names start with Y, and it gets a little bit confusing, so I will call them by the first part of their makeup brand name, with Yiva Expressions going by Yiva and then Nico Yan and having Nico in the first part of their name. Yiva messaged Nico with this message. The date is blocked out by the text up here, so I can't see when it was sent. But Yiva basically writes, hey, I'm receiving a lot of hate comments saying that we look the same. Is there a way that we can tell people not to do that? And then Yiva says that, oh, you know, I blocked you because I don't want to accidentally copy you, but would it be possible for both of us to make videos clearing the air, being like, hey, we're not copying each other so we can avoid the hate that we're getting? And Yiva's like, I did see the video and I acknowledge that your video was similar to mine, but what's confusing is the hate comments. Maybe in the future we shouldn't create videos that are too similar. I don't want you to take offense. I just want us to coexist. Nico says, Yiva, I always tell people I love your stuff when they mention your name. Nico says, please don't take this personally. I don't care if people take inspiration from me. We all take inspiration from each other. And I understand why you blocked me. I was thinking of doing the same thing. And the reason is we're in the same niche, so we're bound to make similar content because we are anime and gaming themed. But I agree that nobody deserves hate, because Nico is saying that she also gets hate too. And let's try to make our content not too similar. And this was all, by the way, around August 2022. So 2 years ago. Eva says, thank you so much. It makes me feel better. It makes me happy that you didn't take offense to the blocking. I didn't mean it personally. I didn't want to get distracted. I'm not going to let it get to me anymore. And I'm glad we talked. Then January 1st, Eva says, can we talk?
Here's how you can get the achievement forward from the past. Put a Labries, a thruster, and a propeller and activate the nano assembler. Then you get this mysterious box. Follow what I'm doing. Make sure to do this on the default map. Avoid making mistakes. Click the button. Then type this. Do not touch anything. Wait for the miracle happen. As you can see, it downgrades every second. Then you get the achievement.
Meet Syrupy, a coder turned cookie run prodigy. He will watch their story and even
This is the
story of Syrupy. Syrupy is a cookie run YouTuber with 11k subscribers. He is also the creator of the
I wonder why my Uncle Sprout and my Uncle Cosmo keep on being drawn like
Tomorrow. What are you talking about? I'd be amazing in a solo run. Yeah, right. You can't even survive the third floor without me in one part and then letting Shrimpo kill you. You're making that up. No, I'm pretty sure I'm not. Owie, that's what you deserve for practically calling me bad at solo
Louie,
run.
you know I was joking.
Don't be a loser, baby chicken. You gotta keep it up. Keep it up.
Cosmo? This cannot be! Whatever, it's not something I should worry about now. Because with my magical, oversized Barbie ring, I can do anything I want. I can even change Cosmo and Sprout for good. Where am
On the way mag-shopping. Bestie, may free shipping araw-araw sa Shopee at zero minimum spend. May patong-patong na vouchers pa. Ang sulit! Sa Shopee na ako mag-shopping. Download Shopee now. Shopee!
Don't worry, Sprout. This will only hit just a bit.
With the other tunes? I just don't understand what happened. 1 minute we were talking about this house, then the next minute Sprout was taken by someone.
Bro, look!
Well,
Up to 99% off na discount sa Shopee. Sakto niyan, dude. For rainy season outfits. Add to cart na yan. Again!
Shopee!
Again!
Shopee!
Again! Download Shopee now!
We can't have any more crimes associated with this place, so we'll try to figure it out, okay, Louie? Thank you so much, Dandy. I hope it's not much of a worry to you and the other tunes. No, it's not. Don't worry. My biggest worry right now is where Pebble is. Pebble? Yeah, Cosmo volunteered to babysit him. I'm just waiting to pick Pebble up. Hey, Dandy. Sorry for the wait. Pebble was a little hungry. Ah, it's great to know that Pebble's not dead.
What?
How was your day with Cosmo, Pebble? Well, I guess Pebble approves you. Keep it up and I just might hire you again.
Oh, it wouldn't be a bother of me to babysit Pebble. He really is a cute pup. And he really doesn't throw tantrums that often, so I think it's fine.
Well, I'm glad Pebble's not much of a bother for you. Right? Cosmo? Oh my goodness, where did he go? Louie, Cosmo's gone. Stop it, man. You're gonna make me panic even more. I'm sorry to upset you, but I think we should all leave. I am sorry, you all, but what Dandy is saying, it's quite true. You all have to get down here now! No crap. Why am I the only one that's gonna go down normally? Alright, everyone. Staying here is dangerous. With everything I've gathered from my investigation, I have come to the conclusion that this house isn't real.
What the Sigma?
The fuck? Roger, we are literally standing on the house. Glisten and Razzle and Dazzle are completely fine in there. Also, you have no evidence. Why would something so real look so fake? I don't know. How can someone as sentient as you act so inhumane? Oh. You had a good point, but at the same time, that was a completely crappy take. So anyways, leave or you like Shrimpo? Oh yeah, that's right, everyone Shrimpo haters!
Yes, Cosmo and Sprout are finally who they're supposed to be. Now, let's watch the impact.
You!
Sprout Senpai!
That's right. Was my little cupcake.
Well, he's doing just fine.
You know, Cosmo,
You ever find yourself scrolling through YouTube and suddenly, bam, a video about Ryan's World pops up, and you think, wait, we're still talking about this? Yep, still a thing. And it just seems to get wilder as the video goes on. For those of you who don't know, Ryan Kaji is a 13-year-old YouTube star who has been reviewing toys since he was 3. Yeah, while most of us were busy shoving crayons up our noses, Ryan was building an entertainment empire. His channel launched back in 2015 and has raked up over 38 million subscribers and a jaw-dropping 58 billion views. Ryan's brand has expanded into everything from action figures to a Nickelodeon series. But how much of this insane wealth is actually Ryan's? That's where things get murky.
How much does Ryan get to keep of all this?
Oh, be careful, Ryan.
His parents Shion and Luan Kaji run the show, and let's just say they're not exactly living a modest lifestyle. Multiple mansions, luxury vacations, these people are doing very well. And hey, good for them. But it does make you wonder, is Ryan working because he wants to or because he has to? If you watch any of Ryan's recent videos, you don't need to be a genius to notice something is off. Man looks exhausted and over having to still act like he's 5, because Ryan is 13 now, but yet his parents are still forcing him to do the same stuff he did when he was a kid, and the views are starting to show it too. Ryan's videos used to pull in billions of views, but now is struggling to pull in a few 100,000. With the channel's declining views and with that declining revenue, Ryan's parents had to act fast. Their genius plan? Throw Ryan in a kids animation movie. Like, come on guys. When Ryan said he wanted to be an animator, I really don't think this is what he meant.
When I grow up, I want to be like an animator. I think it's really fun to do because like the drawing and then like at the end you get to see the whole thing and see what you've like worked.
I was making a joke. She was not. Let's see here. What if you got me a schlanket? What if I gave you a roof over your head and food in your stomach? How am I meant to respond to that? Also, I'm so proud of you.
We have a situation with 2 VTubers who have allegedly been scammed from a rigger. So let's get into this because this is going to be very long and all 3 parties involved have made documents talking about their sides. So this first started with Thorn the Gorgon, who made this tweet on August 19th stating, "Hi, today is my birthday. Let me tell you about how I lost $2,000 to @Mookie_TTV. Happy belated birthday, by the way. I'm really sorry that we're gonna have to get into this." This is the full document that was made by Thorn, and I will try to summarize this the best I can, but also read segments of their doc that I think is very helpful. Thorn wrote, "It brings me no joy to write this doc. They did not want to ever have to write something like this, and they acknowledge that any choices they made were of their own volition. They wrote that, I never want anybody to feel pity for me or the things I go through. We all go through different things. Anything that I mention on a more personal level, I will do so as I feel it's relevant to why I made the choices that I did. At the end of the day, this document is serving as my own personal experience and feelings. I will never tell you how to feel about something that happened, nor will I try to make any side out to be an enemy. There is no enemy. We make our own decisions and acknowledge our own faults. We speak well of people's positive traits. I will do no less here. That being said, I will not tolerate any type of harassment or hatred of any kind to any party. And I do want to say again, please do not harass anybody involved. In a lot of scenarios, again, it's not very black and white. It's not like there is a hero and a villain. A lot of times, both sides are morally gray, and that's just kind of how things pan out. And Thorn added that there will be things that will be censored because there's personal information. So this document is broken up into 10 chapters with a disclaimer, chapters background information that lets you give insights into Thorn's kind of like mental state and where they were at during the point of commissioning Mookie for the rig, options, and more stuff. So this was very, very clearly laid out, very well laid out. So for background information, Thorn had their model created by their artist Sick that was commissioned in 2022. In November 2023, the art was finished and they were looking for a rig. At the time, they were living month by month, and Thorn's only option to make money was through content creation was because they're physically disabled, chronically ill, and don't own a car. They have linked proof as well, which I did look through. And again, I'm never the type of person that's kind of going to be like, prove your illnesses and prove this to me. Thorn did provide it, and it looks very legitimate to me. So Thorn acknowledged my only option was to learn how to rig, which I had already been starting and learning basics as a hobby. This model was my future, the thing that I've been waiting for since starting content creation as Thorn in 2021. So here they add a lot of personal anecdotes. I will give you a TLDR, but again, it is on screen if you would like to read it for yourself. In November through January, everything fell apart and they had to take a long step away from content creation due to degrading mental health and stressors in their life, as well as trying to get the model rigged on top of that was even harder. Thorn and their partner decided that the best option were to put the rigging project down. So Thorn reached out to a wonderful rigger by the name of Bogey. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. Bogey was one of Sik's closest friends. So in the meantime, January 13th, Thorn had purchased a pre-made adoptable zombie model from Mookie. If you guys aren't an artist and you don't know what that is, an adoptable is an artist will make a character or an art piece and then you can buy it, and if you buy it, you own it. You can't claim you drew it yourself, that's not how that works, but you can like buy the rights to that model, which is what happened here. Proof was attached in these screenshots as well, and Thorn stated that they absolutely loved the way it was rigged, they loved the feeling. Here is an example with their DMs to Mookie stating, also she's drawn and rigged incredibly well, you did an amazing job. So on January 15th, Thorn let their audience know that they'll be using a new live 2D model that is not Thorn's designs and that they have found a rigger and they have a timeline for their official debut. So on January 16th, they had a doctor's appointment and they went to it, and unfortunately they found 10 tumors in their arms and legs and they had to go through surgery. They ended up getting hospitalized for their mental health until they could determine that Thorn would not be a threat to themselves. Between January 20th and March 9th, Thorn noticed changes in their partner Matt's mother. The mother's health was not doing really well and she had a stroke, unfortunately. And it was determined the stroke was terminal brain cancer. And unfortunately, on March 7th, Thorn's partner's mother had passed away. And I'm truly sorry for your loss. That is extremely sad. And then on April 9th, they received information that their aunt had also passed away. During early 2024, things were not looking great for Thorn. And Thorn wrote, I generally do not want to dwell on this topic, but before we get to the next chapter, I think it's important to remember that for me personally, my whole life and mental health crumbled around me. And due to all of the above events led to both myself and my partner unable to work steadily for weeks, even months. This will be an incredibly pivotal point when it comes to my timeline and even thought processes regarding this commission. So on to the next chapter of discussing options. As mentioned above, everything was very chaotic. The months have taken a hard toll on both my partner and my mental health. Thought processes. In February 28th, the very end of February, Bogey's rigging schedule ended up pushing Thorn's rig out until March, which Thorn was completely fine with. But Thorn wrote that their partner Matt became a little impatient and wanted the model done as fast as possible. And Thorn wrote, for anybody worried, after everything happened and life calmed down, my partner and I had many discussions regarding this. He came to realize that his perception of what goes into streaming, content creation, and live 2D rigging were extremely skewed. He was comparing it to the only work he had ever known, which is hard manual labor, and content creation just doesn't work like that. All he could see was work done faster equals quality and success. He no longer sees what I do in this way, thankfully. So everything is completely unstable and healthy between us as a reference point going forward, and he's extremely apologetic. So Thorn just wrote this paragraph, appreciation to their partner Matt. We do have to acknowledge too, Matt unfortunately was suffering through the grief and loss of their mother, definitely not going to add to their mental state, and it would lead them to say and do things that they normally would be against their character. Please give some grace to Matt for that. So anyways, during that time though, when it was happening, Matt was kind of talking about wanting to get the rig done faster, and Bogey unfortunately had to delay the rig. So in the beginning of March, on March 1st, Thorn reached out to Mookie on Twitter and added Mookie on Discord to communicate about potentially things playing together and maybe getting a rig. And on March 5th, they talked on Discord and had a Discord call. The timestamps are provided here. To summarize, Mookie mentioned how they loved Sik's art, which again, Sik was the artist for Thorn's model, and that it would be a dream rig for Mookie to be able to work on it. So they were talking and they were discussing quotes and payments. Mookie is again working in British pounds and Thorn is from the US. So this will be a little bit confusing. Mookie quoted Thorn at $1,500, Thorn divided by 12 to get a payment of $125. Of course, there is a conversion rate. 1,500 pounds is actually 1,900 USD, a little bit over. And so Thorn completely acknowledges here that they made a mistake. This entire time, they kept thinking it was 1,500 USD instead of 1,500 British pounds, right? Mistakes happen. Sometimes you get confused, especially when it comes to working with people overseas, different time zones, different things can get confusing. My editor is German, and when we first started working together, we definitely had a whole bunch bunch of issues of me paying him. It wasn't because I was trying to scam him out of money. Just converting things from USD to euros was confusing, and then PayPal was taking a lot of fees. We've eventually worked it out, but there's definitely a lot of kinks that needs to be worked out in the processes when working with somebody who's international, because there's all those extra conversions. So Thorn here said that when talking with Boogie quoted Thorn at 1700 USD. Somewhere in translation, the conversion rates got lost. So Thorn made the mistake of thinking that Mookie was cheaper. Thorn thought that Mookie was 1500 USD, Boogie was 1700. Mookie is from the UK, so Mookie's rate was 1500 pounds or 1900 USD, which would actually make rigging commission more expensive. Thorn was confused, but Thorn, again, was going through so much during this time. And mistakes happen, it's unfortunate. So Thorn wrote, and my partner, who is incredibly worried about our lack of finances from us missing work, highly encouraged me to go with the lower number, which was 1500, incorrectly assuming it was in USD. So this is why Thorn chose to Mookie instead of Boogie. The names do rhyme, so it might be a little bit confusing. Thorn wrote, so in the span of a few hours, we went from the normal plan of Boogie rigging my model to creating an entire plan and making the first payment. The same night, I sent Boogie a message on Discord and let her know what happened. I felt horrible. I felt like trash, and the last thing I wanted to do was hurt anybody. I'm not going to share those messages between her and I out of respect for her privacy and the fact that they were quite emotional and personal. But please note that since this all occurred, we have had numerous discussions regarding this time and are in good standing. She knows how deeply apologetic I am regarding my choices and mistakes, and I fully own up to them as well. She is also incredibly understanding of how my mental health at the time could have led to more impulsive decision making. I would also like to reiterate that just because I chose my final rigger based on what I thought to be the lower price at the time, that I was no less excited to have Mookie rig my model. Thorn had also listed prices as well for proof, and all the Discord message screenshots. So now we're on to the next chapter, starting the rig, which again, Thorn provides incredible proof for. So despite Mookie stating that she was going to start the rig in March, it somehow ended up getting pushed back to the end of May. On May 29th, she sent me the message letting me know she was going to start the rigging process. And by May 30th, she sent me screenshots where she had completed the meshing process. At no point during any of this did she say she could not do my model or that she was unsure of her own abilities. She said that my model was the biggest she's ever worked on and she was nervous because it was a large file. But at this point, I had no reason to doubt her. I loved all of her work I've seen thus far, and I had complete faith in her abilities, and I didn't want her to stress in the slightest because her health was far more important to me. So the next day, Mookie sent a Blink update, which Mookie reiterated that if there was ever anything I wanted to change, to just let her know, which at the time really reassured me that I was safe to mention if there was something that wasn't how I wanted it. And Thorn was just mentioning how excited they were. So June 2nd, 2 days later, Mookie sent me a message that she started rigging my model's mouth. But Thorn said that when I first opened the video, my heart kind of sunk. I thought the mouth forms were a bit extreme. So in this segment here, there's going to be a lot of back and forth essentially about the mouth rig. So I will just briefly summarize it. But here are examples of the mouth rig, and there's a lot of back and forth that happens. So Thorn again said that they felt the mouth rigs were a bit too extreme, the movement was too large, and they told Mookie exactly that. They said that they felt the mouth was getting too wide, but they had a hard time putting what they were feeling into words. Thorn wrote, I made sure to reassure her that I wasn't upset in the slightest and that I was just trying to figure out how to best word what I was noticing. Sometimes can be hard to articulate what is wrong. I'm not saying wrong as in like it is objectively bad, but in the sense that Thorn, as the recipient of the rig, just had a different vision, right? It's each person's personal choice. Some people like more exaggerated rigs, some people prefer more subtle rigs. It's personal preference. But again, the artist is always there to work with the commissioner to get the art to look and move the way the commissioner wants. So Mookie gets back with an update, and Thorn said that they couldn't tell any difference with the mouth shapes or what had been edited. So Thorn dug up an old Live 2D project file in November when they had been learning to rig and sent some examples. So Thorn reassured Mookie that they weren't trying to be nitpicky, that they just wanted to make sure they were comfortable with the mouth movements. And Thorn wrote, after watching the video I sent her, I kind of felt like Mookie's response to me just shrugged me off. I'm not sure how to describe it. It felt like my concerns weren't being heard. So here are the screenshots of the messages where Mookie says, of course, this is your model LMFAO. Let me watch this. Thorn says, okay. Mookie says, yeah, the only time I moved the top teeth was when I did the shrug. Otherwise, the teeth are like, hello. Basically, just make the movements a lot more subtle. Also with the funnel, it's meant to be U-O sound, so that's why it's so expressive. So I think here what they meant, why they felt blown off, was that Mookie was trying to explain why it was so expressive, but Thorn was trying to explain how they didn't want it to be expressive. So it doesn't matter, I suppose, the reasoning as to why it's expressive if the commissioner Thorn didn't want it expressive in the first place. So they have been going back and forth about the mouth for a while. Mookie sent some more videos about edited parameters, stating she's changed everything. So here are the updated examples, one in Live 2D and then one in, I believe, VTuber Studio, face tracking to show it actually moving live time. So Thorn communicated back with Mookie, being honest, stating that the parameters still look too exaggerated, and Thorn acknowledged that they didn't do a good job of explaining their thoughts. Thorn wrote, I truly think that overall it was looking a lot better, and I thought we were on a better track, but there were still things I didn't like that much, and I was having a hard time getting those thoughts across. And Thorn mentioned that they felt anxious about talking about why they didn't like something because of bad past experiences, which I think we can all agree with. It can definitely be hard to voice your opinion, being like, hey, I don't like this, especially if it's to an artist that you do have good relationships with. So Mookie didn't respond and just sent an 11-second video with no context. Thorn's assumption was this is just to show the funnel parameter, which is the mouth making this motion. Also, I'm going to caveat right here too. I have experience, using Live 2D to animate emotes. I've never rigged a VTuber model, so my limitations do stop short here. I try to always explain things in like the most dumbed down terms possible for non-artists. Please forgive me if my explanations aren't going to be super clear because I've never rigged a VTuber model. I only animate emotes in Live 2D. If you don't know what parameters are, that's what each row is. Each of these little dots is a single parameter that the rigger then has to control. And the parameter moves, different elements. There'll be a parameter for maybe like, the mouth squishing. There'll be a parameter for the mouth opening. There'll be a parameter for the teeth moving, etc. Even minuscule object that moves, element that moves will have a parameter associated with it. So Thorn asked a voice call and Mookie stated, I'm a little anxious. I really don't know how much more subtle I can make it without your model being able to pronounce U and O. In terms of the mouth rig is rigged to move in the same way a human's mouth would. When you talk, your mouth will make different expressions. If you say you, purses. If you say oh, your mouth also purses, like puckering up a little bit. And as it results, for the VTuber model to look natural when it's talking, you need to rig the mouth to make that like pursing shape, that O shape, which is where Mookie is coming from. Mookie's probably from as an artist, hey, I know that you do want it more subtle. I tried. I don't know how much more subtle to make it without it not looking correct if it was speaking. So I think this is just a disconnect between what the VTuber Thorn wants and what Mookie as an artist thinks is going to look best from an artistic perspective. But let's not forget also that Thorn themselves also has VTuber rigging experience as well. So Thorn is not coming straight guns blazing, no experience, being like, make it look like this without any logic or reasoning behind it. Thorn does have VTube rigging experience as well. And Mookie sent another update with extra changes, and Thorn was really happy. They stated that it was looking a lot closer to what they were looking for, and there was a little adjustment I would make by pushing the bottom lip ever so slightly and the top lip up a small amount as well, but it was so close and I was a lot more happy with the funnel in this shape. I sent her a screenshot of the model I was working on rigging and the funnel parameter that I used, which I absolutely loved, and I was hoping she would be able to use it as a reference. So here is an example here, which as you can see is much more subtle in the O. Instead of it being like a O, it's more like the mouth is much wider, the lips do not go up as high. Personally, for me, I'm not saying anything is like art, right or wrong in the artist world. I personally like more subtle mouth rigs. Thorn scent would actually be, if I were to make a VTuber model, what I would prefer for a mouth rig in terms of the funnel shape. And I think that was the big disconnect here. The big thing they kept trying to go back and forth on is in the original rig, if we see here, when they're talking, the lips go so far up and down, like so open when it's talking. It's not a bad thing. Some people do like that, but Thorn just was not looking for that specifically. Thorn wanted the mouth much more smaller. But Thorn added, this will not be the only time during this experience that she would receive exact references and would refuse to use them. So at around 12 a.m., Mookie acknowledged the examples that were sent and was like, yep, I get what you mean. I'll change it tomorrow. As a side note, I was extremely diligent on making my payments and have been doing so steadily for 2 months. I ended up needing to push my payment back by 1 week because I was in recovery from surgery. I was able to get my surgery to remove the 10 tumors from my arms and legs, and it was incredibly hard to even sit at the computer or type at a keyboard. I was really hoping she would understand, and I had planned on making the payment as soon as possible, but she did guilt me for not being able to make it on time due to my surgery. Essentially, her words were, quote, do you know when you'll be able to pay last week's milestone? I have my phone bill to pay, which I absolutely understand, but at the end of the day, it's not my responsibility to make sure her bills are paid on time, especially when I'm recovering from a surgery, which left me with a 3-inch plus long incisions on each forearm and 2 much larger ones on my leg. I paid it immediately at that point just so I wouldn't have to spend any extra time on my computer with pressure on my arms. I do have to say here, the one statement that I'm a little like, about, at the end of the day, it's not my responsibility to make sure her bills are paid on time. To be fair, Mookie was expecting the payment a week prior, so it is on you if you paid it a week late. There is that thing where was expecting payment. I do think, again, in this scenario, it's not like there's a villain, a hero, whatever, right? Thorn is going through surgery. They had surgery for 10 tumors, which must be very invasive and very painful. I hope their recovery went well. Thorn is really struggling, and due to their health complications and everything going on in their life, they hadn't even been able to work. So, of course, their finances are tight, but also on Mookie's end too, they were expecting payment a week prior. So this is a very small thing amongst this large scenario that is happening. But I do think that it's a little bit not fair to state it's not my responsibility to make sure her bills are paid on time, referring to the phone bill, that is, if Mookie was expecting a payment that should have been coming through. But I digress. So we're on to the next chapter of moving forward. So here Thorn was much happier with the results and the progression of the mouth rig, but they still weren't happy with all of the shapes. Thorn felt like there was too much teeth showing, and the shrug parameter was a little bit off and made the face and mouth look unnatural. And they also felt like the teeth were moving side to side, even though Mookie stating she never moved them. However, in her video, Mookie seemed like she just wanted to stop working on the mouth altogether. She is very insistent that she didn't know what else she could even change. So Thorn adds, okay, maybe we can move on to rigging other things and revisit the mouth, because it can be tiring to work on the same thing over and over and over again without seemingly coming to a resolution. Thorn also adds that they were completely out of it due to antibiotics from infected surgical incisions. So again, they're going to be a little bit loopy, a little bit out of it, and they just wanted, the rig to continue. And so later, Mookie added some extra horror toggles, and Thorn loved it. And Thorn said how much they loved how the rig was coming along and how they apologized for how nitpicky they were being. Mookie once again reassured Thorn, being like, don't worry about it, it's your model, your character, you tell me what you want and I will do my job. Which again, this is what happens when you rig a VTuber model, right? This is not just like a standard art piece, it's not a scab, right? A model is expensive. It's thousands and thousands of dollars. And this is going to be a model that the VTuber is going to use every single day when they make content, when they stream. They're going to see it day in, day out. And it's not something they change very frequently, right? Some VTubers, they'll use the same model for years. So of course, you're going to want the model from a VTuber perspective to be perfect. And of course, from an artist perspective, I would hope that you would do your due diligence and all your power to make the model as perfect as possible for the VTuber. Of course, I'm not discounting the fact that there are definitely nightmare clients that have extreme asks that is basically impossible to create. So I'm not trying to discount that whatsoever. But it seems like Thorn, through all of the screenshots, the examples, has been very nice, very respectful. And Mookie has been very communicative as well, with very timely updates. So things besides like the back and forth on the mouth seem to be going well. Thorn wrote, however, the way she brushed my feelings off the previous day was how she would continue to treat me when I did bring things up. She even told me that she had somebody cancel an entire rig commission previously, and I was pretty shocked. I felt really bad for her at the time. At this point in time, I now know who that client was and exactly why they canceled. I'm not going to disclose who this person is, as that's not my place to do so. If they ever wish to speak about their experience, I will support them, as I have seen with my own eyes how Mookie treats her artist disrespectfully. So on June 4th, Mookie added a head tilt angle update with expressions as well, but they felt frustrated they couldn't get the tiers to work properly. Thorn tried adding some suggestions, but then decided that, maybe stepping away from this and revisiting the head tilt stuff later would be better. So on June 5th, Thorn was hoping that a little break would be helpful, but Mookie was getting even more frustrated. She was highly agitated and kept going back to the statement of, "I just don't know how to fix it," end quote. Thorn gave Mookie a bunch of reassurances and noted that they noticed the eyes being a little bit stretched out and some chin and jaw warpings, but it didn't seem like a good time to mention anything because of how frustrated and overloaded Mookie felt. So then there was a group chat that was made. This was a group chat between Mookie, Sick, and Thorn was trying to add all the screenshots, but they do acknowledge that some things may be out of order. So on June 9th, Thorn received new video updates, and Thorn wasn't really satisfied with the head angles. They felt like the left and right X angles were definitely warped and skewed, and they were sending this entire time their artist Sick updates. So Sick even had full references of head angles and mouth forms ready for Thorn to give. So here are the examples of the head tilts that Thorn added, and there's definitely distortion errors, right? Notably, like the jaw is protruding a lot with the head movements. That's definitely one that I noticed. But again, I don't want to sit here and nitpick somebody's art, right? This is also a work in progress because this was the before fix video. The artist acknowledged there were distortion errors as well. So Sick wanted to provide Mookie some references, and they were trying to get into a group chat together. Mookie wasn't really a big fan of the group chat. They were kind of apprehensive about it, but they get into a group chat and they're trying to like go back and forth. And Thorn felt like Mookie was being really dismissive during the entire group chat, and Mookie wrote word for word, "It just feels like I spent the better part of 12 to 15 hours on the head, and making changes is going to be difficult because I'll have to redo everything again. If I move the head, I have to redo the eyes, nose, mouth, brows, ears, and facial details." I definitely understand it's really frustrating if you do something and you have to completely redo all of your work. Mookie's headspace during this time is probably not great either because it's gonna be really frustrating and it sucks. And I feel like this is a scenario where if there was, references, X, Y angle references made by the artist, I feel like this should have been given earlier. But again, I don't think this is necessarily on Thorn as well. Thorn had already used a model from Mookie, and they really loved the rig and they loved the way it looked like. So I'm sure they were assuming that this rig was gonna look and have a similar quality to what they were used to because they've already used a model from Mookie. So I do think it just kind of sucks all around. And Thorn was writing how they were really anxious and how they were really uncomfortable. They felt like this was another example of how Mookie didn't want to fix things or acknowledge that they messed up. And Thorn wrote, "I felt horrible. I felt like a monster. I was in tears just trying so hard to make this work, but with each passing message, I was getting more uncomfortable with the way Mookie was treating my artist and myself." So a screenshot of the examples. Thorn stated that there was a trend in Mookie where Mookie would say things that hurt you or make you feel like you're the problem, and then she'll apologize and use something in her personal life as an excuse for the way she treats you. This is psychological manipulation. I generally don't even think Mookie realizes that she does this or how it affects those around her, but it's something I've experienced many times, and I can tell when it's happening. Even if it's unintentional, acting this way towards others has a large effect on how they feel in approach situations. This initial back and forth between the head distortion was actually in DMs. Mookie and Thorn. Sick wasn't in these DMs yet. Sick wasn't in this conversation yet. The artist, that is. So then they make that group chat together. And this is the group chat between the three of them, Sick, Mookie, and Thorn. So Sick sent the first message, also sent head tilt examples, and Thorn felt like Mookie's response was passive aggressive and disrespectful. Mookie had written, "I've done the majority of the head, just need to rig the hair, so it's a little frustrating that this has only come to light, but I'll do my best. Thank you for the refs." I feel like this isn't passive aggressive. Obviously, Mookie is going to be frustrated. They're going to have to redo a lot of work, but they seem respectful. But again, like this is only one message out of like tons and tons of messages in their conversations. Thorn also offered to pay Mookie more for their time, which Thorn acknowledges later that this was not something that they should have done. Like it's not the VTuber's job to pay the artist for more time when the artist was the one who didn't make it correctly, if that makes sense. And Sick reached out to Thorn privately being like, "Hey, the Mookie's messages made me feel really bad." And they looked through their TOS, which states that any changes would be totally
ultimate cookie. So shiny, so strong.
So shiny, so strong. So shiny, so strong.
as the master of the Ivory Pagoda. Everything shall return to flower.
Bored. So bored. Your destruction shall be my greatest pleasure!
Welcome, folks! Ready for some giggles? Seriously, who can say no to a pinch of good old deceit? The ultimate cookie. So shiny, so strong. The ultimate cookie. So shiny, so strong. A real showstopper, is it not?
영혼 공정 시작합니다. 무슨 생각하세요?
미안.
이제부턴 집중해주세요. 조금만 실수해도 반죽에 영혼이 깃들어 버려요.
알았어. 공정 가동 시작할게.
영혼 반응 없음. 다음 반죽꾼으로 넘어갑니다.
반죽꾼 교체 완료. 있잖아. 좀 이상하지 않아?
반죽에 뭔가 문제라도 있나요?
그렇다기보단 궁금한 게 있어. 우리 목표는 고대 쿠키의 영혼이 잘 정착할 수 있는 반죽을 만드는 거잖아? 그런데 지금은 영혼이 깃들지 못하도록 반죽을 가공하고 있어. 목표와 반대되는 공정 중이지. 실험의 방향성이 바뀐 걸까?
실험의 목표가 바뀌었다고 전달받은 적 없잖아요. 다른 영혼이 깃들지 못하게 해서 고대 쿠키의 영혼만이 깃들게 하려는 거겠죠. 위에서 시키는 대로만 하면 아무 문제 없어요. 너무 복잡하게 생각하지 마세요. 영혼 반응 검출.
기분 나쁘게 움직여.
폐기장으로 보내야겠군요.
생명의 힘을 모아 고대 쿠키의 몸을 만든다고? 반죽이란 탄생과 함께 생명과 영혼이 깃드는 것. 동굴 깊숙한 곳으로 들어갈수록 요동치는 오염된 생명의 힘. 타락한 자들의 반죽에 점점 다가가고 있다.
드디어 마지막 공정이다. 이것만 끝나면 쉰다고.
빨리 마치고 돌아가죠. 파괴 공정 시작할게요. 분리기 안에 반죽을 넣고 마지막으로 불순물을 걸러낼 거예요.
반죽에 남은 마지막 개성을 파괴하기 위해서지.
목적을 잊지 않으신 것 같아서 다행이네요. 계속 어딘가 정신이 팔려 있는 것 같아 걱정했거든요.
오히려 항상 그것만 생각하는 네가 더 신기해. 아무리 생각해도 이상한 좀 투성이라고. 반죽이 이렇게 많아야 할 이유도 없잖아. 만들어야 할 몸은 5개뿐인데.
균일한 결과를 위해 반복된 실험으로 검증할 뿐이에요.
왜 매번 그렇게까지 모른 척하는 거야? 아까 무슨 생각을 하냐고 물었지. 영혼 없는 반죽들과 우리가 다를 게 없다고 생각했어. 모두 똑같은 쿠키처럼 같은 일을 하면서 생각까지 통제받지. 너도 다른 종 녀석들이 하는 말 들었잖아. 영혼을 반죽에 고정하는 연구는 이미 성공했다는 걸. 고대 쿠키의 몸도 그래. 벌써 한 쿠키는 이미 몸이 완성되어서 여길 떠났다고 했어.
Alright, so today, it's time to get the Shadow Milk and Pure Vanilla Cookies legendary costumes. I'm really ready for this one. Hopefully I could get them both. 94,000 rainbow cubes ready. Alright, it's gacha time. It's okay, we just started. 10th draw. Still no epic. Next, 15th draw. Oh, first epic plus. 2 epic costumes at once. And I get a new epic costume. Not bad. Werewolf Cookies costume. 15 draw and 2 epic costumes obtained. Next, 20th draw. Here we go. Dang it. Full common. Bruh. 25th draw. Here we go. Nope. 30th draw. Still common and rare, huh? Alright, 35th draw, here we go. Yes, another epic plus. 10. No legendary, and 2 epic costumes appeared again. Another werewolf. 40th draw, here we go. Oh. Never mind, epic costume again. I need a pure vanilla legendary one, not an epic one. 45th draw. Epic again, but epic is good, since now it give 5 rainbow crystals. Now we're at 50th draw. And still no legendary costumes. 55th draw. Really? Really? Are you testing my patience? 60th draw. Nope. Still nope. Such a good luck. 65th draw. Finally, another epic plus. And epic costume again. Brr. DAD4. 70th draw. Yep. 2 epic costumes again. Now I don't need that. Simon. 75th draw. Oh my god. 5 legendary costumes. 80th draw. Oh my god. For ancient cookies a costume gacha. This is so cool. 85th draw. Please. Wow. Another 5 legendary costumes. 90th draw. Almost 100. So please. Oh my god. 3 mystic costumes. Golden shimmering. 95th draw. Wow. 3 mystic costumes again. And the 100th draw. Are you seriously? After 100 draw. 105th draw. No comment. And yep, epic costumes again. 110th draw. Still crying. Yes, epic costume again. I love it so much. And it's time to spell the legendary summon word. Recluse, Sage of Truth, Brr, Truthless Recluse, Sage of Truth, Truthless Recluse, Sage Next, 120th draw. It's already 0.7%, dang it. Truthless Recluse. Epic again, epic again. Recluse, Sage of Truth. 125th draw. Sage of Truth, Truthless Recluse, Sage of Truth, Truthless Recluse, Sage of Truth. Yes, finally my baby, ha 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 ha. That's it, no problem. Only 1 costume left. Hey hee hee. Pure vanilla, I'm coming. The chance is up, it must be easy. 130th draw, here we go. No epic, it's okay, I just got one of them. 135th draw. Damn. I have a bad feeling. 140th draw. 2 epics. Rockstar cookie, I'll take it. 2 new epic costumes at once, not bad. 145th draw, here we go. Nope. 150th draw. Dang it. 155th draw. No epic plus again. 160th draw. Oh, finally an epic. 165th draw. Please give me luck. Wow, 5 legendary costumes. Really? For real? 170th draw. Oh man, ... please. Let's speed up until the 200th draw. Yep, now we're at 200th draw. Oh my god. For mystic costumes. Alright, let's use the summon spell. Truthless recluse, truthless recluse, truthless recluse, truthless recluse, truthless 210th draw. Recluse, truthless recluse, truthless recluse. Seriously. Recluse, truthless recluse, truthless 215th draw. Truthless recluse, truthless epic costume again and again. That's enough. I'm too lazy to count the number of draws. Truthless recluse, truthless recluse, truthless. I don't need that. 2 epic costumes. Please now give me luck. Wicked Jack's 9x Kikwevon 2N. Haha. I'm going crazy, I think. Alright, let's speed up until he's appear. Truthless recluse, 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 truthless recluse. Yeah, that's it. Over 90,000 rainbow cubes isn't enough. You think I'm gonna give up? Never. Haha. 15,000 rainbow cubes purchased. You can run anywhere. Truthless recluse. I'll do even 1,000 draws to get you. Just watch out. Brr. Where are you? Why it is so hard? Now I hate this bastard costume. Even before I get it. 11,000 cubes left. Hope I don't regret it. Ow. I feel pessimistic now. Maybe this is what traumatized feels like. Okay, we can do this. Yes, finally. Oh my god. Lovely god, I love you. Yes, after 100,000 rainbow cubes, finally. Finally, oh my god, finally, oh my god, finally, oh my god, finally, oh my god.